Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu dieser Ausgabe von Tourismus. Ich bin Svenja Hecht und ich erzähle euch mehr über unsere Themen, Reiseziele und unsere Rubrik auf den Punkt gebracht. Wir starten wie immer mit unseren Themen.
Namibia offers a serene refuge for tourists looking for quiet, a vibrant cultural heritage, and a strong commitment to peace. Time stands still in this enchanting land, where the rhythms of nature and the warmth of the African sun conspire to slow down the pace of life. Space. The Namib Desert is a haven for astronomers, with some of the brightest skies on the planet. Watch the sunset over towering dunes, and then gaze up at the star-filled night sky, feeling the vastness of the universe unfold before you. Peace. Serenity in a world gone mad. From the gentle rustle of the desert grasses to the soothing sounds of the Atlantic Ocean, every moment in this country is an opportunity to unwind and reconnect with nature. Take a leisurely drive through the rolling hills of the Khomas Hochland, or stroll drive along the peaceful shores of Etosha-Pan National Park and let your worries melt away. Time. A journey through ancient landscapes. Namibia's rich history and diverse cultures are waiting to be discovered. Visit ancient rock art sites where centuries-old paintings tell stories of long-forgotten civilizations. Practical information. Best time to visit. Namibia is an all-year destination, but from May to October, peak sessions for game, landscape viewing, and many other activities. November to March, for mostly surfing and swimming. Accommodation, ranging from luxury lodges to budget-friendly guest houses and camping sites. Safety, safer than most African countries, but familiarize yourself with the Namibia Tourism Board safety brochure at the website www.visitnamibia.com. So why wait? Book your trip to Namibia today. www.visitnamibia.com/NA.
Wir sprechen als erstes über den Handel von Nashorn-Hörnern. Die Europäische Union hat Namibias Antrag abgelehnt, einen streng kontrollierten Handel mit Horn von Nashörnern zu erlauben. Die Entscheidung entfacht damit erneut die weltweite Debatte über die Zukunft des Nashornschutzes noch vor der 20. Vertragsstaatenkonferenz des Washingtoner Artenschutzübereinkommens. Die 20. Vertragsstaatenkonferenz findet vom 24. November bis 5. Dezember in Samarkand, Usbekistan statt. Namibia hatte die Genehmigung beantragt, ein kontrolliertes System einzuführen, das den Verkauf von Horn von Nashörnern aus legalen Quellen erlaubt, zum Beispiel aus natürlich nachwachsendem Horn, das unter tierärztlicher Aufsicht geschnitten wird, oder von verstorbenen Tieren. In seinem Antrag argumentierte Namibia, dass ein solcher Handel nachhaltige Mittel für den Nashornschutz generieren und gleichzeitig den Schwarzmarkt untergraben könnte, der die Wilderei in Südafrika antreibt. Die Europäische Union hielt jedoch an ihrer langjährigen Ablehnung fest und verwies auf Bedenken, dass jede Wiedereröffnung des legalen Handels die Nachfrage steigern, die Kontrolle erschweren und das Risiko der Geldwäsche illegaler Hörner über legale Kanäle erhöhen könnte. Die Europäische Union erklärte, dass internationale Handelsverbote eines der wenigen wirksamen Mittel bleiben, um den Wildereidruck zu verringern, und warnte, dass deren Lockerung das falsche Signal an Konsumenten und Händler senden würde. Unser zweites Thema geht heute über das namibische Tourismusamt und die Ethiopian Airlines. In einem wichtigen Schritt zur Stärkung von Namibias internationaler Tourismuspräsenz hat das namibische Tourismusamt (NTB) eine Vereinbarung mit der Ethiopian Airlines Group unterzeichnet, einem der größten und erfolgreichsten Luftfahrtunternehmen Afrikas. Die Vereinbarung wurde in Addis Abeba von NTB-Generaldirektor Sibulon Shikalu und dem CEO der Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mesfin Tasev, unterzeichnet und markiert den Beginn einer strategischen Partnerschaft zur Förderung der touristischen Zusammenarbeit, der Marketingpräsenz und der Luftverbindungen zwischen Namibia, Äthiopien und wichtigen internationalen Märkten. Im Rahmen der Vereinbarung haben sich beide Seiten verpflichtet, bei Destinationsmarketing, Reiseangeboten, Geschäftstourismus und Medienaktivitäten zusammenzuarbeiten. Die Ethiopian Airlines wird Namibia in ihrem globalen Netzwerk bewerben, während das NTB die Airline als offiziellen Partner in Kampagnen und Tourismusveranstaltungen präsentiert. Darüber hinaus sieht die Partnerschaft spezielle Reisepakete, gemeinsame Informationsreisen und koordinierte Maßnahmen zur Förderung von Tagungen, Incentive-Reisen, Konferenzen und Ausstellungen vor. Und unser drittes Thema geht über die Brandgesetze. Die jüngsten Buschbrände im Etosha-Nationalpark und in ganz Namibia haben erneut eine eklatante Schwäche im Feuermanagement des Landes offengelegt: das Fehlen wirksamer Gesetze. Die namibische Landwirtschaftsunion NAU erklärte, dass die meisten Buschbrände zwar auf individuelle Nachlässigkeit zurückzuführen seien, Namibia jedoch umfassende Brandschutzvorschriften fehle, um Täter zur Verantwortung zu ziehen. Im Gegensatz zu Südafrika, wo Gesetze zu Buschbränden klare Pflichten und Strafen festlegen, sei der rechtliche Rahmen in Namibia fragmentiert. Nach Angaben der Union macht diese Lücke es nahezu unmöglich, Täter zu belangen, selbst wenn fahrlässige Handlungen Schäden in Millionenhöhe an Weideland, Biodiversität und ländlichen Lebensgrundlagen verursachen. Die NAU wies darauf hin, dass die Regierung seit Jahren stärkere Gesetze verspricht. Das vorgeschlagene neue Forstwirtschaftsgesetz und die dazugehörigen Vorschriften zu Buschbränden enthalten wichtige Regelungen zur Prävention, Brandbekämpfung und Verantwortlichkeit. Dennoch stagniert der Entwurf in den Regierungsgängen, ohne dass ein klarer Zeitplan für die Verabschiedung erkennbar ist. Und das waren unsere 3 Themen für heute. Wir machen weiter mit unseren Reisezielen.
Paparazzi Namibia, Trails und Safaris. Namibia, wo Wüsten flüstern, Ozeane atmen und jede Reise zu einer Geschichte wird, die es wert ist, erzählt zu werden.
Nicht nur reisen,
Erleben, fühlen, erinnern. Jede Reise schreibt ein Herzschlag. Reisen mit Herz und Seele. Wo Sterne den Weg zeigen, beginnt die Reise. Jede Aufnahme ein Moment, jede Reise eine Erinnerung. Wo die Seele aufwacht, beginnt die wahre Reise. Kommen Sie als Besucher, gehen Sie als Geschichtenerzähler.
Entlang der Küste von Vineta in Swakopmund ist am Strand ein auffälliges neues Kunstwerk entstanden. Ein sorgfältig angelegter spiralförmiger Pfad aus Strandsteinen windet sich durch den Sand und zieht Spaziergänger vom gepflasterten Weg hin zum Meer. Mit etwa 10 breiten Windungen ist der Design beeindruckend rund und symmetrisch und führt Besucher in 2 bis 3 Minuten zum Zentrum. Die Steine bilden die Begrenzung, während der sandige Weg ins Innere leitet. In den vergangenen Wochen, leise geschaffen, Berichten zufolge von einer örtlichen Frau, ist die Spirale bereits zu einem einzigartigen Anziehungspunkt für Passanten geworden.
A spiral made of beach pebbles along Swakopmund's Vineta shoreline has become a quiet attraction, drawing walkers, joggers and curious visitors to the beach. The symmetrical design winds across the sand through nearly 10 turns before opening into a small circular space, taking a couple of minutes to walk from the entrance to the center. It was created by local artist Danielle Stern in 2022, inspired by her daughter and by similar spirals she built in France and the Netherlands. Stern said that she creates these spirals where she feels called to do so, saying it should be walked with honor, whether as a prayer or just to experience it. But the spiral story hasn't always been smooth. Stern says an unknown person, whom she calls her shadow, began changing and maintaining it alongside her. At one point, someone even placed a large cross in the middle, perhaps to bless the site. Still, Stern kept rebuilding, convinced that missing stones disturbed the spiral's energy, an energy circle going in and out. Similar designs now appear elsewhere in Namibia, including at Alzheimer Dementia Namibia, where they're used for therapeutic walking exercises. For now, the Vineta spiral remains intact, a quiet healing space that continues to intrigue and inspire.
Und als zweites sprechen wir über die Tshilli-Farm. Die Tshilli-Farm, etwas außerhalb des lebhaften Safari-Zentrums Maun in Botswana gelegen, bietet Besuchern eine ruhige Auszeit am Rande des Okavango-Deltas. Diese kleine, inhabergeführte Lodge verbindet rustikalen Charme mit umweltbewusstem Leben und ist bei Reisenden beliebt, die ein persönlicheres und intensiveres Busch-Erlebnis suchen.
Hi, my name's Edi Dandridge. I'm the owner and creator of the Tshilli-Farm here. Tshilli-Farm is a small agri-tourism business, which is unique in Botswana, one of the first and one of the only true agri-tourism properties. We've got 5 rooms. 3 of them are family rooms. We can have extra beds in them. We've got a lovely restaurant and a great bar. So a very social place. You know, we have a lot of locals coming here as well as tourists from all over the place. We have a lovely swimming pool. The Tshilli-Farm is really a lovely place, a great place to come and relax for a few days. So just take some time out from the world. We're really working hard on getting a farm-to-table restaurant going, so that the majority of our food comes from the farm. We've got pigs and chickens and ducks and rabbits. Lots of vegetables, and the fruit trees are growing and so on. It's a tough place to farm, but we're trying really hard. But it really is just the perfect place to come with your family. We're working. We do activities. We do offer activities. There's helicopter flights from here, just over there. You can leave from. We can help with Mokoro trips, and we do visits to Elephant Havens, and we've got Okavango Gin Distillery, which is just next door. We're the closest bar to the distillery, so it's a good place to come and experience the Okavango Gin. But we also offer tours to the distillery. So that also, and everything about the Tshilli-Farm and all of what we do is in support of the community. We participate a lot with the community. It's a feel-good place to come and visit, and it's a good spot to take a break from your lots of driving, maybe, or intense holiday, with early mornings and, long days and stuff. The Tshilli-Farm is the perfect spot to come and take a moment out, but you're not chickening out. You haven't booked into a hotel. You haven't gone to the air conditioner yet and the TV. You're still in the bush. And all of our rooms are very open, so you still experience a bit of a camping feeling. And we do have wildlife around, although not necessarily that you're going to see, but you might hear wildlife. You might see tracks in the morning. It's a perfect place to go for a walk. It's safe. It's a great place to take a little breather in amongst your intense journey on safari, which is not really a holiday at the end of the day.
And you do have Wi-Fi here, but you can also take a breather away from that constant mobile phone.
Absolutely. There's no cell phone connection. We do have Wi-Fi, but that's because we need it for our business, really. But it's there if anybody needs it. But the couple of days out of your long trip, either before, after, or catching up on time lapses and all the rest of it, this is the perfect place to come. And we can offer a little laundry service. We can give you a space to catch up on your emails, just relax, read your book, go for a walk. Great bird watching. We have incredible bird life. So if you're into your birding, this is a great spot to come and spend a day or two birding. And then we'll go back to the restaurant. Is really good.
Yes.
So great food. You don't have to worry about that.
I heard your pizzas are incredible.
The pizzas are great. We've got a lovely wood-fired pizza oven. Tero and Muluki, our chefs, are great. And like I said, we're really working on getting as much of the food off the farm onto the table organically. So that's also important, that you understand that all the food we produce and everything here is beyond organic. It's all natural farming, regenerative agriculture. So we also research and development farm for natural farming, as well as the tourism side. So quite honestly, our farming is more of our focus if we try. But we'd love to have people come and stay and visit what we're doing and see what we're doing, and just experience something different about Botswana. It's not all about the wildlife, and you can learn a little bit about the community and the people that live here, and just have a moment to relax and enjoy.
So tell us a little bit about the Tshilli-Farm. Do you make chili sauce?
So we make chili sauce. That is our next main business. And we try and grow and produce as much of the ingredients for the sauce as we can, but what we can't, we then try and buy as much as what we can from our local farmers, and beyond that we might source a few bits and pieces from outside. But we produce a range of chili sauces. Most of the produce that we take off the farm is processed in some way or the other. It's either dried herbs, essential oils, chili sauce, or other extracts and tinctures and stuff that we make from the turmeric and the rosemary and stuff. But we've working a lot around trying to figure out what plants we can grow here. Might not be necessarily food crops, but they could be medicinal, and things that aren't in conflict with our environment and with our wildlife. So it's what I term as non-conflict agriculture. So the little bit that we grow that would be desirable to the wildlife, we protect, and then the majority of what we grow, which are our cash crops, are not crops that the wildlife are interested in. So that way we don't have to deal with a lot of conflict with the wildlife, which gives us a cash crop without the fight.
Well, there you heard it. Come and visit.
Und dann haben wir wie immer unsere letzte Rubrik auf den Punkt gebracht.
KTE is a custom steel and bodyworks company in Windhoek. We specialise in tourist vehicle conversions. Other products include truck and trailer conversions, game viewing vehicles. We offer excellent service and quality workmanship. Located on 9 to 11 Nickel Street, Prosperita, Windhoek. Contact 0837210100 or email us at info@ktenamibia.com.
Hi everybody, we are at Biltong and Bites today. It is the National Biltong Day tomorrow on the 9th of September, so we thought we will line up some of Namibia's top chefs, ask them for their recipe for a bite, a chili bite. So we've got a lot of bites, but only one of them are chilies. So now we want more chili bite options. So we've invited the chefs, we are very proud to have them together. They spiced, we dried, and now we have a tasting today. So we hope to identify the best bite, and then we will add it to the Biltong and Bites menu as the chef's choice. So the number one bite that we just nominated now as the best is the Smoky Joe. And that was made for us by Chef Pedro Cesar from Droombos. Well done, congratulations. I think there's a profile of customer that will be interested in each and every single one of these bites. So definitely I think it will add value to the profile and the spread and the variety of bites in the Biltong and Bite Shop.
Im Rahmen des Projekts zur Verlängerung des Kais in Lüderitz nahe der Shark Island hat die namibische Hafenbehörde NAMPOD eine maritime und Unterwasser-Kulturerbe-Bewertung durchführen lassen. Die Untersuchung ergab keine menschlichen Überreste und auch keine Funde, die mit einem Konzentrationslager in Verbindung stehen. Wir sprachen mit Vanessa Meitland, der Meeresarchäologin, die die Studie durchgeführt hat.
My name is Vanessa Maitland. I'm a maritime archaeologist and I work on shipwrecks and maritime landscapes. So I was asked to come and look at the underwater cultural heritage around Shark Island. So it involved the shipwrecks as well as terrestrial heritage that may have found itself into the water. So first I did a desktop study of all the potential shipwrecks that could be here. Then I did a magnetometer survey, which looks for metal objects under the sea. I don't know what they are, I just know they're metal. And then we did diver searches, not only on the magnetic anomalies, but also on the shoreline along Shark Island, looking for artifacts that may have come from the concentration camp period, as well as human remains. So there's not a lot of recorded shipwrecks in Namibia because there's not a lot of people that lived along the coast to report the historical shipwrecks. So most of our information comes from the 1800s and onwards, from when people were actually living in Lüderitz. There are a lot of unrecorded and unreported shipwrecks that I believe will be found along Namibian coast, a lot. Specifically in Lüderitz and Walvis Bay, because they were the only natural harbours that the ancient, well not the ancients, but the old seafarers would have come into looking for food, for water, and to repair their ships or get away from storms. So I think the potential for maritime archaeology in Namibia is huge. So we found quite a few shipwrecks, or 17 shipwrecks that are reported in Lüderitz. But we didn't find that there was a high likelihood that many of them would be in the area under development. Nevertheless, we undertook a magnetometer survey to look for metal objects. So shipwrecks, even wooden shipwrecks, have a lot of metal in them and they can be picked up by a magnetometer. And then we were looking for artifacts that could have been thrown off the island, like manacles or other restraints that the prisoners had. Were restrained by. So we found a few small anomalies along the eastern edge of the area, so the western edge of the island. And then we went to go and do searches. So we attached a GPS to a buoy and we dived inshore and then slowly worked our way offshore, looking to see what we could see. And we checked the 3 anomalies that we found, but we couldn't find anything there. There was silt and sand, so it may be buried underneath. The magnetometer doesn't only find the stuff on the surface of the seabed, it also sees stuff under the seabed. We didn't find any remains that were associated with the concentration camp. So while we found modern debris, found bottles, tires, cables and conduits, and some of the 2022 shipwreck, we didn't find any manacles or anything like that. Doesn't mean they're not there, but it's unlikely that they'll be found. We didn't find any human remains, and one wouldn't expect to find any. It's been 120 years of a very rough sea with a lot of creatures that clean up our ocean. So I believe that so there is a little island on the north of Shark Island that was used as a smallpox quarantine zone. So I believe that if anyway, that should be a sensitive zone, because they wouldn't have wanted to come and remove those bodies. So the birds would have fed on them and stuff, and and they would have probably collapsed into the gully next to between the Shark Island and the Little Island. So I think that's a high sensitive area, and I think that along the entire northern side of the island should have a 20 to 30 meter buffer zone where there's no development, just to protect anything that may be there. It's archaeological best practice to leave remains in situ until such time as you have a decent research question you want to answer, or for whatever other reason you may need to excavate there. But leaving it in situ is best. The second thing is I think that a museum should be placed on Shark Island that tells a story not just through. So there's a number of items on the island. There's an old metal pole that John Kinahan, the archaeologist, found that is probably part of the fencing. That's a very evocative artifact. They found a historical photograph of one of the inmates breaking rock, and they managed to tie that and find that spot where that was, and that they found the actual chopping marks in the rock. I think that's a very evocative artifact of the past. I think it's very important that the story of the concentration camp and the genocide be told. I don't think it should be forgotten. It's a traumatic national event that has impacted and still impacts people today. There are people that are alive today whose grandparents were victims of that. So it is still within living memory. And I think that those stories should be told, whether it's through oral presentations that could be multimedia, through images. There was a lot of photographs from the period. There's the stories. The British came and they took down first-hand accounts of it. All of those stories could be part of a museum and a place of memory, not just for Lüderitz, but for Namibia as a whole, because it's one of the sites that's still it's isolated in a way. So it hasn't been swallowed up by the cities or the towns or, other developments, and it can be kept whole as a place of memory for the entire genocide. The third thing I think is that all the stories so far told from either a white African experience or other Africans, but all people removed from it. I think the story should be told by the people that were impacted by it. And I think a scholarship which encourages Herero and Nama kids to go to university, study history, and then write the story from the perspective of the affected people would be beneficial. So it's reclaiming ownership of the story.
Und als zweites Thema auf den Punkt gebracht, sprechen wir über das Ministerium für Tourismus, das nämlich offiziell sein neues Regionalbüro in Erongo eingeweiht hat. In ihrer Hauptrede hob Ministerin Indeleni Daniel die 3 Kernaufgaben des Büros hervor, wobei die Verwaltung der Nationalparks im Vordergrund steht. Als zweites ist die Infrastruktur zu erhalten, um das Besuchererlebnis zu verbessern und gleichzeitig natürliche Ressourcen zu schützen.
The Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Indeleni Daniels, inaugurated the new Erongo Regional Office today in Swakopmund, and this is what she had to say.
The ministry's headquarters in the region with 3 core functions, and I'm going to go to the functions. Park management, which include maintaining infrastructure to enhance visitors' experiences and protect natural resources. Coordinating integrated park management with stakeholders such as NAMPO and local communities. Enforcing national policies. Remember the ministry, there are regulations, there are laws. Your duty is to make sure that these laws are adhered to. The second one, the environmental management, which include implementing and monitoring environmental policies and also enforcing those regulations. Promoting biodiversity conservation and sustainable resource use. And that should also accompanied by our community, so that they also understand and have the same feel and have the same obligation like it's owned by the people in the ministry.
Und das war's mit dieser Ausgabe von Tourismus für heute. Nächsten Samstag sind wir dann wieder für euch am Start. Bis dahin, bleibt neugierig, bleibt gesund und reisefreudig.